Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Kridious Cafe on this beautiful Friday, or as the corporate slaves like you and I call it, Happy Friday. Well, the topic for the day is going to be the two biggest contemporaries in the history of humankind. And no, it's not Android or iOS. It's not animal lovers or animal haters. It's not even dog lovers and cat lovers. It's going to be science and religion. But not in the Burton Russell's conceptualization in science and religion as two opposing pillars, two parallels that shall never meet. Today we are actually going to be exploring how these two intersect, not in ideation, but imagination. We've already touched upon how the backbone and core of science is science fiction, how imagining things that are outrageously, ridiculously, and rather conspicuously impractical, improbable, and impossible is the basis of creation. Today we're going to be talking about how elements of religion and religious texts that were imagined a lot of centuries and even millennia earlier than today were later personified by the inventions of science. Fact number 1. Today, humanity has a very common problem of so many diverse languages. But there was a time, as per myth or as per the book of Genesis, that it wasn't so. There was a period when humanity actually spoke one uniform language, one medium of communication for everyone. But then came Babel, the Tower of Babel, and the languages were diversified by God across species, across lands, geographies, and the entire terrain of earth. Well, even the Holy Quran talks about Prophet Solomon, who had the ability to speak to birds. Well, skip to today, and even now, humanity is constantly seeking uniform modes of communication in the form of AI language models, Google Translate, or, real-time subtitles like the one that are dropping right here. I hope there are no typos going to my accent. Well, that just proves that across millions of years, thousands of years at least, humanity has been imagining a uniform mode of communication, the ability to talk to other humans from different geographies as well as other species if that's possible. But recent times are proof that even if we achieve that feat, the only thing that we'll be using that language for is to ask other people in the Zoom call, am I audible? Fact number 2. Well, you all might have read about the Mahabharata war, and if not even read, you might have heard about it to an extent, right? Well, there's a very interesting character in Mahabharata called as Sanjay, who has the divine ability to see something that's happening at a great distance away from him. The Mahabharata war, that is, which is happening in Kurukshetra. And he's able to see that war live and narrate that war to Dhritarashtra. In modern terminology, we call this as broadcasting, as your favorite commentators do in cricket, in NBA, Super Bowl, or any of your favorite sport. Even in wars today, there is something called as a drone broadcast, or even live news broadcast, as was done by some infamous news reporters in the Kargil War. We've essentially normalized something that was written as divine powers by our ancestors epochs ago. Fact number 3. Speaking of the Mahabharata, the story of the Kauravas is quite intriguing. The fetuses of the Kauravas were not growing inside the womb of Gandhari, their mother, but were rather extracted from her as embryos and were grown in vessels outside of her body. Today, we have reached this biotechnology inflection point where we have embryonic growth happening in petri dishes. We have IVF, we have test tube babies. We even have invented species of plants and animals. I just hope that we don't end up finding some mosquito frozen in some resin and create dinosaurs out of it. Fact number 4, and we are still sticking to the Mahabharata. In the books of Mahabharata 18 to be precise, there are these divine weapons also known as Divyastras. Some examples are Pashupati Astra, the divine weapon of Lord Shiva, Vajrastra, which is the divine weapon of Lord Indra, and Brahmastra, which is the ultimate divine weapon of mass destruction. And I'm not talking about the movie, which was indeed a weapon of mass destruction against all our sanities. All these weapons had different mechanisms behind them and different kinds of abilities to destroy. Before unleashing the full might of these astras, the users had to chant certain hymns and mantras to configure the type and extent of damage as well as the target of these astras. Now compare these astras to modern weapons and command-triggered systems such as missiles, rockets, and even systems that can be activated, redirected, or even deactivated or aborted. There's an uncanny similarity about how we imagined weapons back then and how we are actually thinking about them now while creating them. The pursuit was never just strong, brute force weapons. It was always smart weapons, weapons that are intelligent. Number 5, and we have come to the best part of the episode. aerial vehicles or aeroplanes or flights. Let's get through the obvious reference first that we all love to talk about, we all know about, and you actually know what I'm referring to. The Pushpak Viman from Ramayana. It's one of the earliest references of a flying vehicle in any holy textbook across all religions and faiths in the world. Even the book of Ezekiel describes this heavenly structure with wheels within wheels that has the ability to move in any of the three-dimensional directions without the need for turning. In Greek mythology, we have gods like Helios and Apollo who are traveling in these flying chariots across the sky. And you must wonder, these are different cultures, religions, traditions across the world, scattered, not just across the geography, but also across time, across eras. And even today, humanity is obsessed with the ability to fly, which finds proof in our obsession with reading news about flying cars in China, isn't it? Which also finds proof in the ecstasy you felt in your very first flight. Well, didn't you? So those were the 5 facts. I'm not sure if they're mind-blowing for you, but these are definitely mind-blowing for me, because this makes me believe that humanity and its imagination will always be ahead of its time and capabilities even. We are able to conceptualize, think and imagine things which are wonders for us right now. And this also testifies that whatever you're thinking right now to create in life, if that's impossible, then that's going to be incredible when you create it. And as we close the chat today about religion, religious texts and holy books, I have one book today which I'm not sure can be called holy so much, but it's called a Bible in all the respect of that term. It's a science fiction Bible, which is actually a research of 500 technologies and inventions which found inspiration and conceptualization in science fiction before they were actually created. So do buy this book, read it. It's a pretty lengthy book. It has an academic form, shape, structure, length, as well as breadth, width, everything. And it's available on Amazon. And just hit me up. I'll send you a link to buy it cheaper. So thanks everybody, and Kridious checks out.